designer, if you're a freelancer and you're used to working by yourself on your client's design projects, sometimes it might be a little challenging to get feedback because you might be creating a couple different concepts of some designs for your client that you want to get approved, but you're still a little fuzzy as to whether you should show these designs or not, and you want a little feedback to know whether these designs are good enough to show your client or not. Sometimes a second set of eyes will help out a lot. Now, you also might be a designer in school, and you also might be in an online design program to where you don't even meet with the instructor and you don't even have online classes. I'm finding that to be the case with more and more design students in the last couple of years. Many of the students that I've worked with and taught privately have taken some online design courses, which is great. The problem is they have no instructor learning, and they're given an assignment out of a book and told to follow these step-by-step instructions and complete this project, but they have no idea really what to do if they're stuck and have questions, or if they really don't understand the material because they have really no way to reach the instructor. They also don't have that student interaction from their peers to know and get feedback during criticisms to know whether the design is going in the right direction or the wrong direction. So you're going to need a support system. My name is Stacy Schilling. I'm a visual design expert. I am the creator and founder of the Stacy Schilling Education Design Hub, and I'm here to help you understand what to do and give you some feedback. I'll give you a great example right now. I have a student, and this student is based out of Connecticut, and her school is based out of New York. It is an online design course. And in this online design course, she has given the whole gamut of the whole course. So from assignment 1 up until the last assignment number and everything in between. In this course, each assignment has a couple specs of what the project is about and the requirements. And it has things that the designer needs to do, as in what types of tools to use, as well as what program or programs to use, whether it's Photoshop, Illustrator, or InDesign, or all three, or a combination of 2 out of the 3. Now, one of the things that she has been struggling with in this course before she came to me was, I don't know Photoshop and I don't know Illustrator, and I don't know what the heck I'm doing as a designer because my instructor doesn't teach. Now, if you have an instructor that doesn't teach you online, I want you to drop me a comment and say, no teaching in my comments. I need to know that you don't have a teacher, because guess what? There is going to be so many of you design students out there that are not being taught by an instructor. What I'm seeing a pattern in the last couple of years with online colleges, especially in the design space, is instructors are just giving assignments, but they're not teaching. The whole point of an instructor is to teach you. If you don't know how to do something, how are you going to do it for yourselves? It's like telling somebody to get into the passenger side of a 5-speed car and telling them how to drive without actually letting them sit behind the wheel and trying to figure out by themselves what to do and what not to do, and also to see if they can actually get out of first gear and into second gear successfully without stalling out. So with this design student that I'm working with, she doesn't meet with an instructor once a week, not even privately or a group class. She also has no communication from any of her classmates. So she has no idea who's in class. If you have nobody in your classroom or don't even know who's in your online classroom, I want you to drop me a comment that says, no peers. Let me know so I know that you have no peers. Now, when you're working as a designer, especially a new designer, you're working on a project by yourself, you can tend to get lost and confused and really frustrated with the whole project itself, as well as the instructor and the course and the whole field, because you're lost and you don't understand what you're doing. Now, many of you are probably searching through YouTube going, how do I do this? How do I do that? How do I do this? And you're spending all this time going through all these YouTube videos that are free, which is great because YouTube is an awesome channel. I'm on YouTube right now, as you can see. But the problem is a lot of those instructors or those individuals are not educators. They don't know how to break down the material in a super easy way for you to understand it step by step in an online format where you and I can work together privately. So if you go to my website, stacyschilling.com, and click on private lessons, I've got packages for 5, 10, and 20 hours where we can actually work one-on-one together at a pace as fast or as slow as you need to get you up to speed and understand your project. Now, with the student that I'm working with out of Connecticut, one of the cool things that she's really starting to appreciate is the fact that we're working privately. I'm able to tell her what's working on her project and what's not and why it's not. And so when she tells me and shows me a project and I tell her, this is not working and why, she's like, but I don't know what to do. I said, send me your file. In the middle of the lesson on Zoom, I will have her email me her artwork. I will open up her artwork in Photoshop or Illustrator. I will screen share that artwork, and guess what? I will show her what she's doing wrong with her artwork and why. Now, it's not going to say, you did this wrong and why, but let me show you why it's wrong. But better yet, let me show you how to fix it and correct your mistake. This way, she can physically see in a video format while I'm working on her work what she did wrong, why, and what the solution is to fix it. That's one of the great things about working privately with me and private lessons. I will actually work on your work for you and show you step by step what you're doing wrong and right. But guess what? I'm not sending you that artwork back. You know why? Because you need to learn how to do it yourself. So you'll be able to re-demo for me as I watch you do the work yourselves and correct your mistakes, as well as you will have a copy of the Zoom link to the session that you can replay over and over again. So that way, when you're working on the project by yourself and I'm not around after the lesson, you can stop, rewind, and hit play again and rewatch me do it again and explain what I did to fix your artwork so you can go, oh, this is what I need to do with my artwork so I can fix it and get it done right. Now, another thing that she has found super helpful is the fact that she has professional feedback. You know, you can read things in word for word in a book or on your syllabus, but when you need to get it translated to really wrap your head around the whole project, it can be kind of overwhelming. I'll give you an example of another student. So I had a student, I'll call her Z, and she was based out of Canada, and she came to me in a panic. And she had to create a snowboard illustration in Illustrator for a class project. And she really didn't understand the instructions. She felt overwhelmed and confused. And I said, well, the first thing we need to do is we need to figure out what your target audience is for the snowboard. Who do you want to design and market the snowboard for? Who is your ideal person? Once she was able to figure out who her ideal person was, I said, okay, what colors does your ideal person like? What do they like to do? What are they as a person? As she started to develop that and understand that, she was able to give me more information. I said, excellent. With that information, now we can create the design for your project. We talked about how to put a bleed in and why we needed to put a bleed in. We talked about spot color. We talked about process color. We talked about RGB. We talked about CMYK. We talked about the importance of outlining your fonts so they don't get corrupted. We talked about layout. We talked about illustration. We talked about what things needed to be done and how for the printer. When we worked together, she was really able to understand her project. I basically had to translate her designer's instructions and regurgitate it to her in a way that she can understand. And the trick was, I don't even know the instructor. I'm not even in the class, so I had to figure it out. How I did that was basically thinking about it from this perspective. If I was in a business and I was in a design studio or an ad agency and I had an art director or creative director above me, I had a boss and they were instructing me, how would I have to design this artwork to meet their standards that would need to meet the client standards? So I tried to help her imagine that this project is going to be developed for clients in the real world and to think of her instructor as a creative director. And I had to basically understand what her creative director or instructor was giving in the instructions to be able to help her understand what we were doing with the project and why. Once she understood that and had a clear, concise way of this ideal client as well as the project and how the project needed to be designed spec-wise, she was able to design a project, successfully get it turned in and get an A on it and pass the class. So one of the advantages was I was able to help translate from what the instructor said in the instructions to what the student needed to understand so they can actually complete their project. That's what I'm here for. I'm a visual design expert. My job is to help you understand. So if you get an assignment, whether it's from a boss or an instructor, you're kind of lost, you're kind of confused, you don't know what to do with it, you don't even know where to go with it, you need to contact me. You need to go to my website, stacyschilling.com. You need to click on private lessons. You need to either pick 5 hours, 10 hours, or 20 hours. Book lessons with me, and then together we can work one-on-one, decipher what your instructor is trying to teach you with this project, create it, and then you're also going to get feedback from me to tell you know, is it going in the right direction and why, or if it's not, why it's not going to go, and I'm going to give you some suggestions and feedback. I'm also going to pull in some other designers' work and illustrators' work that we're going to look at and discuss, so that way you can have a better idea of where you're going with your design, so that way you can either get an A on the project or make your boss super, super happy so you can keep your job. If you want more information, you can always go to my website, stacyschilling.com. Bye, designer. Have a great day.